going on, folks? It's Landon from Today's Tech, and either you just got your S21 Ultra or you got it a few months ago right when it dropped. And hopefully, if you haven't gotten a case yet, your phone has yet to hit the deck. I honestly rarely drop my phones, knock on wood, but when I do, of course, they're inside of a case. And I keep one for just about every scenario, and I know how tough it is to weed through all the bad ones you see as you scroll through Amazon. And as a matter of fact, one of the only two phones that I've ever cracked broke while inside of a cheap and random case that I got from Amazon. So don't trip. I've gone ahead and done the work for you, and here's just a quick list of 5 of the best and some of my favorite cases for the Samsung Galaxy S21 Ultra. Okay, so the first case I want to mention is a pretty controversial one. It's the S Pen wielding silicone case from Samsung. So this is the first year that an S series device has gotten S Pen support, but the S21 Ultra doesn't have a silo for the S Pen as the Note phones do. Nope. Instead, you have to get a case that has a nice little slot on the side that houses the S Pen, and it does add some bulk. There's absolutely no way around that, but it's silicone, so it still feels very comfortable in the hand. However, if you're right-handed, it's a little awkward to get the S Pen out because it's located on the left side, just like it was with the Note 20. Definitely not ideal, but it is what it is. Wishing I was left-handed right about now. Now, there's a slew of benefits of the S Pen, and that could totally be its own video, so I'll keep it brief. Using the S Pen is truly like using a pencil. Writing with it is super smooth, and so is just using it to navigate the interface. And it's got some pretty useful features like detecting and then converting your handwriting into text, allowing you to jot down a quick note with the screen off, or even sign documents. So it's very useful, but aside from that, it is still a really good silicone case. It's of course grippy, it's got the lip to protect the display, the buttons are super clicky because they actually thinned out the silicone around the buttons. And it's funny, it's actually got total coverage for the camera module back there, even though this is the first year that the camera module is metal instead of glass and probably doesn't need any coverage. But overall, in terms of protection, it's got a plastic base layer wrapped in silicone, and it's relatively stiff, so I wouldn't be concerned with a drop every now and then. And then lastly, a big question for me when I'm choosing a case is, does it hinder my ability to access the edge panel? The edge panel is like the start of pretty much all my interactions with this phone, so it's critical for me, and the answer is no. It does not. So it's got all the makings of a recommendable case that's beneficial enough for today's tech. It's definitely on the plainer side, so not earning any style awards, but hey, the idea here is productivity, and productivity from the S Pen wielding silicone case is going to cost you 70 bucks. Essentially $30 for the case and $40 for the S Pen. And in my opinion, if you have a use case for it, totally worth it. However, if you don't have a use case for it, but you're still digging the silicone vibes, then I would suggest Samsung's regular silicone case without the S Pen. The characteristics are the same, except this guy is a bit slimmer, and you get a little bit more flexibility in terms of style with 4 colors to choose from. Then out of nowhere, Samsung added this loop on the side here for, I assume, one of those wrist lanyards. So if that's your cup of tea, the Samsung silicone case will cost you just 30 bucks. Now, of course, there's always your standard clear case that's perfect for some of the pretty dope and pretty unique colors that we see nowadays, or if you just like to see the color of your phone every time you take it out. But there's typically always 2 key problems with clear cases. One, they either start getting discolored or they get moisture trapped inside and it starts to look like a hot mess. You know what I'm talking about. So this case here is from ESR. It's their Project Zero Clearview Slim case. A little bit of a mouthful, but it's a pretty solid case. It has a slim profile, which is always nice because you can still appreciate all the engineering that went into the design. It's got a slight lip just big enough to protect the display when it's face down, and it even covers up the massive camera module, which simultaneously gets rid of the pretty bad table wobble. And the buttons are clicky and tactile. I can't stand a case with really stiff buttons. Oh, and you're in luck if you happen to use third-party cables because the cutout is big enough to park a Brinks truck. And I've been using it intermittently since launch, and there's still no discoloration, so it checks that box. And it also has these micro dots that prevent that moisture buildup I was talking about, so it checks that box as well. And as far as protection goes, although it is on the slimmer side, it does have air pockets in each corner to absorb some impact, but I definitely wouldn't push it to the limit. And finally, it does not get in the way of accessing the edge panel. So a very solid case from ESR. The Project Zero Clearview Slim case is easily recommendable, and it's not going to break the bank at 10 bucks. Now, the next case also happens to be from ESR, and it's their metal kickstand case in like a matte gray finish, and it's perfect for hiding fingerprints. I just love the minimalist look and the minimal branding. Definitely a nice touch, and it shares most of the characteristics of their clear case, but it's not just your ordinary kickstand case. Most of the kickstand cases that I've had in the past have a kickstand with 4 main characteristics. It's flimsy, it's not adjustable, it only works in landscape, and it typically stands up like an A-frame sign. So in comes this bad boy with not only a sturdy kickstand, but an adjustable kickstand that also works in portrait mode. And instead of being at a fixed angle, it's adjustable. So it works like the opposite of your typical A-frame kickstand, and you can dial in the angle that you want. They even took the time to stress test it, so it's pretty stiff, but it still snaps back into place and clicks in. Very high quality. Other than that, it's got the same good qualities as their clear case, so the same slimness, the same clicky buttons, the whole 9 yards. So yeah, definitely not your average kickstand case, and another easily recommendable case from ESR that's 15 bucks. Now, there's always those instances when it's time to get a little rugged, and it's usually better to be safe than sorry, and that's where the Otterbox Commuter case comes in. This is one of my favorites because you typically expect a protective case to be huge, but the Commuter just isn't. It's 3 times tested to military standard, yet it's got a pretty good size to protection ratio. It's a dual layer case that's antimicrobial and made from 35% recycled plastic, which is dope. And as far as grip goes, since it is a bit thicker, it's got grippy portions on the sides and the back, which seems to work well for me in tandem with the signature pinky hold, even though the outer layer is smooth plastic that can be a bit slippery if you have dry hands. And of course, being a protection focused case, it's got a pretty big lip to protect the display and camera module when it's face down or flat on a table. And thankfully, it does not get in the way of accessing the edge panel either. And it has this little door for the USB-C port, which could be annoying, in which case you could just opt for wireless charging, which it does support. And lastly, the one question I bet you're thinking is, how hard is it to put on and take off? Well, it's actually not bad at all, despite having 2 layers. You just go one corner at a time and both layers come on and off together. Oh, and they felt the need to put that it's 5G compatible on the box, so your case hindering your 5G experience is apparently a thing to look out for now. You're welcome, in case you didn't know. So all in all, the Otterbox Commuter case will run you about 40 bucks if you're in need of a protection-focused case that can still fit in a pocket. Now, this last case I like to use for special occasions when I want to look a little dapper, since leather is typically synonymous with luxury. It's the leather case from Samsung. I typically get one of these for every new Samsung phone, but this year's iteration is just a tad better. It already looks luxurious because it's leather, but then they've got this two-tone look going on with the carbon fiber looking accent piece to cover the camera module, and even the buttons are a nice bronze color that stands out. I think it looks fire. Even if you got the phantom silver color, you can still pull off a brown case because you only see the silver ring around the cameras, and it just goes well. Oh, and fun fact, the camera module coverage helps with grip a little bit. You can kind of naturally rest your finger on it when you're holding it with one hand, but the case overall has a nice feel to it. It's not bulky at all. The leather feels very smooth and high quality. The buttons are very clicky, and the overall build quality is there so far, despite the extra seams around the camera module that typically aren't there. It's constantly in and out of my pocket, and thankfully, it's still holding up. Now, the cutout for the USB-C port is definitely on the smaller side, so it may not play nice with thicker third-party cables, but it looks like it's there to make sure that there's an ample lip to protect the display, so a necessary trade-off. So the leather case from Samsung will cost you 50 bucks, and it's a very premium case with a premium build quality, and it can be quite the accent piece, so I personally think it's worth the 50 piece. To me, there's a case for pretty much every scenario, but not every case works in every scenario. Now, you don't have to be super extra like me and keep a case for every scenario. There are tons of cases out there that serve multiple purposes, but you do have to be just a little bit conscious of the quality of the case. Take it from me, I've been there and done that. So all of these cases receive the Today's Tech stamp of approval, so if you're interested, they'll all be linked down below. And make sure to leave a comment with your favorite case brand so I can try and check them out for my next phone. Alrighty guys, thank you so much for watching. I really do appreciate it. Make sure to stay tuned. Peace and love.